XML namespaces. We have already discussed some part in our previous session. So let's say that this is our, I have created the Maven project. So you can see in the Maven project, I have created a folder known as source main resources, and I have the XML file. And so you can see the employee is the tag. So I also have the XML declaration, which is a default. And if you don't mention, by default it's going to get added. And thing is, this is my root tag employer, and the employer I have a few employees. You can see this is the for the employee 1, this is for the employee 2, and this is for the employee 3. Okay, so let's say that we have other employer. Let's say we have the other employer. Let's say that we have the other employer. Let's say this employee is for the one company, and this other employee is for the other company. So we can see there is a conflict. So to avoid this conflict, we can make use of the namespaces. How we can make use of namespace? It's simply by adding the prefix. So if we can add the prefix, let's say this is the company A. Company A. I have added the prefix. Okay. Simple. I can say C1, company 1. So I have added this prefix. So using this prefix, we can avoid the conflicts. Okay. So even similar in this way, I'm going to add prefix C2. So even here I'm going to add C2. So this for the company 2. Even though we have similar tags, employer and employer, we are differentiating by making use of the prefixes. Let me right click on it and validate. So again it's showing something. The markup is documented for the root must be well formed. So it is not well formed. Still it has some errors. So here whenever we make use of the prefixes, so all the child tags should also have that prefix. So right click on it and validate. As I have added the prefixes, completed one error was discovered, one resource was validated in under a second. So what is the problem? Let me click on it. The markup document following the root must be well formed. Okay. So let's say that I also need to have, we need to have namespace. So first of all, let me that I have namespace. I have this namespace. So this So let me add this namespace, similar namespace for the seat. So right click on it, say validate. Okay. Why it is so? Okay. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, right, got it. So here, so this was mistake what we have done. Here, as I said, prefix. Okay, it should be added at the set suffix is the prefix. So we should add the C1 at the starting. So let me remove C1. Okay, and simply remove C1 and add it before. So why are we getting this thing? This is the ID tag. Okay. problem. And here we should mention that prefix name C2. Okay. Similarly, here we should mention the prefix name. So when we save and validate it, so all the errors should be gone now because we have two unique namespaces. One is XML C1 and other one is C2. Okay. So here what it's saying is the markup document is following is the root must be well formed. So it is not well formed because it's not following the rules and regulations. So let's check why it is so. So you can see my first XML has the similar tags employer. It's a C1. So and in the second XML even I have the similar kind of the tags employer. So in the one.xml I have the similar tags and the two.xml I have the similar tags. So just to differentiate between these two, I have added namespace. So for this namespace I have added in prefix. So that tag I'm using in all the tags. So this is how it needs to be. Right click on it and say validate. Warning. So the warning is because we have not used any grammar. That's nothing but schema. Okay. Even we have this thing. This is how we're going to differentiate between two different tags by using prefixes and giving the namespaces. Okay. And the namespace should be unique. Should also be unique. And let me jump on to the XML. First, let's say that this is our XML, and we need to read it and write the Java program. So it will be very difficult. It will be very difficult to read the data because in this XML we just want this data. What is this data? We want ID data. We want name, triple A, and we want these two. And we want B, and we just need to read the data, ignoring the tags. So to write this code, so the only option what we have in the Java is to use the input file stream. So we need to write the program saying that if at all it has, if at all the data is present in between these two, then read this data. That is little complex. Not really complex. It's very complex to read the data from the XML by simply writing the Java program. So here we got an option. So to avoid this program or this problem, we have a few things. We have a few tools. We have few utilities. That is nothing but parsers. For parsers, using these parsers, we can simply directly read the data from the XMLs by ignoring the tags. So what are those parsers? We have a few parsers like so why do we use parser? So parser is used to read data from XML files. So a few parsers are Sax, and Jax. So these are few parsers. So, but these parsers are little old. So first of all, we want to talk about these things. Then we're going to talk about the latest parser. So if at all we have to make use of these parsers, so we need to code the hard code the hard code hard code the file name. Along with it, we need to hard code the tags. So whenever, so here, so what is the problem of hard coding? So whenever there is change in file name. Of course, this hardly happens, but or whenever there is change in tags, so this frequently happen. Let's say that we have given the file name as 1.xml to the parser, and we have given all these tags, C1 employee, C1 employee, C1 ID, name, and all these tags are defined inside the parser. So whenever we have to modify the XML file, obviously we have to make changes in the parser. So that's the main difficulty. So to avoid this difficulty, the XML schema came into picture. Because here what we are going to do is, here in XML schema we are going to set a few standards. So here we are going to set a few standards. The standards, some rules, and and also we are going to set a few tags. So using this XML schema, we have to develop the. So using this XML schema, we have to develop our XML. So using this XML, it's going to refer to what are the tags it's going to have. So we should use only those tags and attributes, and in the order which are mentioned in the XML schema. So XML schema is actually kind of it's a kind of a prototype which tells us how to follow this thing. Okay, how to follow and what are the tags to follow, and what is the order we need to follow, and all these things are defined inside the XML schema. So we should never develop. So whenever we are developing an XML file without XML schema, we should never develop an XML. So each and every XML should have an XML schema. So XML schema is also an XML file. This XML file contains certain rules to create XML tags or elements in an XML file. In olden days, we used to use DTD files to create the XML files. So instead of the XML schema, in the olden days, we used to have the DTD files. So which we are going to discuss, but not very deep. Okay. So we want to, first of all, we want to talk about these parsers, and of course they are not in use. We are using latest parsers, and first of all we are going to see how this word Sax and Jax parsers are working. Then we will jump on to the latest ones. First of all, let's discuss about the XML schema in much more detail in the next upcoming session.